Hey, welcome to Aloha's 20-minute demo webinar. We're going to go ahead and get started. I want to be respectful of everyone's time. What we're going to do today is show you a high-level overview of the Aloha system and some high points of our features. We're not going to go too in-depth today, but if you are wanting to go more in-depth, I'd love to schedule a one-on-one call with you and deep dive based on what your organization needs, or if you have any organization-specific questions. I'll introduce myself really quickly and then we'll hop into it. My name is Tina. I'm a senior account executive here at AlohaABA. Prior to being at Aloha, I was in an ABA center. I was an RBT and an RBT trainer, and I trained RBTs coming in first thing for about 3 years. So I've seen the ABA industry from more of a clinical perspective, and then coming over to Aloha, I learned about the wonderful world of billing and scheduling and all of that behind the scenes. Okay, so let's go ahead and jump into today's 20-minute Aloha overview demo. I went ahead and shared my screen with you guys. Where you are starting at is the dashboard. The dashboard is the first thing that you see when you log into Aloha. It's essentially a bunch of widgets that gives you a good overview of the Aloha system. So there's a lot of different widgets here that are going to be based on user permissions as to what people can actually see. So this is a full level view. I'm going to skim through a couple of popular widgets here, and then we'll go inside to the site a little bit today as well. Starting with my top row, I have an expiring qualifications widget. This is showing me any staff qualifications coming up on expiration in the next 30 days. You can toggle farther in the future. You can track any sort of qualification for your staff. You can also alert that staff when they're coming up on expiration for whatever qualification you're tracking. Similarly, we have an expiring authorizations widget for your client. So next 30 days of expiring auths. You can look farther here as well. And both of these widgets are clickable. So that will take you into a report for the information itself. A couple of billing related widgets. There's an unbilled appointments widget, which is showing you any appointments that have gone unbilled in the last 30 days. So unbilled here means that they're ready to bill. They've been completed. They have a session note, but they haven't been sent to the clearinghouse yet. So this is helpful to make sure that nothing is slipping through the cracks. Aging report is showing an overview of billing each month. There's an amount billed bar and an amount outstanding bar. Amount outstanding will start to shrink as you get payments into the Aloha Payment Center. And those come in through an ERA. We'll talk about that when we get into the billing area today. But essentially, you want that purple amount outstanding bar to shrink because that tells you you're getting paid. Billing summary by bill date is the next widget for billing. You can see it by that bill date area, or if you'd rather, you can see it by date of service if you prefer. Scheduled versus completed is a great widget to see an overview of your schedules every month. So you can see it by appointment, or you can see it by hours if you prefer. Canceled appointment summary is showing you an overview of cancellations from month to month. These cancellation types here are customizable. This is a random little Mod Podge of popular cancellations, but you can put in whatever you need to. You can also run reports on this. And then your bottom widgets gives you an overview of your own schedule. So if you have a clinician that's logged in and maybe they have a limited viewpoint of what they can see in their system, they might log in and on their dashboard, they just see an overview of their own information, what's going on in their day, their week. Okay, so this is that initial dashboard. We're going to be toggling through some high points of the system, like I mentioned, and that's going to be coming from this sidebar navigator. I am going to skip over a staff profile, which is going to be where all of your staff are going to live with their basic demographics, their qualifications, expiration dates, certification numbers. Also, you can put in their pay rates and any files that you want to upload to their specific profiles cabinet. I'm also going to be skipping over payer setup. Payer setup is going to be where your fee schedules live. It's also going to be where specific billing rules will live for each specific payer. That payer setup is going to be really important in getting you towards seamless scheduling and seamless billing. So if you have any specific questions on billing rules, compatibilities, modifiers, and how those are pooled, things of that nature, that's going to be payer questions. So once our payer and our staff have been set up, we can also set up clients. Client profile is something I am going to jump into. So this client profile, this is Joey's profile. We can see here he has his basic demographics in your top 2 cards. This is telling me all his base information, but also some customized information that myself as an organization would want to track that Aloha doesn't already have a spot for it. So I can customize anything I want to see here. This can be pulled on reports as well. Contacts area, any client contacts. We do have a portal option for any of these contacts. This would allow that contact to log into Aloha, view the child's schedule. They can also view balances for that child and make payments towards those balances. We do that through a Stripe integration. Stripe is a credit card processor. So if you want them to make a payment towards something like a copay or a deductible, that's going to be a good way for them to just log in, make a credit card payment, and see whatever payments that they've made in the past. Client assignments, you can assign staff to the kiddo's caseload. This is great for permissions. You can also build out teams in your organization. These teams can be created solely based on what you want to group people together as, whether that's regions, caseloads, all staff teams, all RBT teams, totally up to you and your organization. These can be staff teams, client teams, or a mixture of the two. Great for when you're pulling people onto the schedule and you want to see a full team at once. Authorization area is going to be where policy and auth information lives. When I expand on an authorization here, you're going to see auth numbers at the top, and then all of your services are built out underneath. So I have direct service. Scrolling down, I have assessment. It's going to be built out the same way. This service name, in this case, direct service, this is something I would have defined on the back end when I built out my payer. By pooling this service in here, it's going to pool in all of the payer information for this service. So the full fee schedule, charge rate, contracted rate, modifiers, any required staff qualifications. It's also going to pull in any billing rules for that payer it's connected to. And of course, the billing code itself. Date range tells me when I can schedule. Allow limit is going to be used for utilization tracking. I'm going to show you that in the schedule itself. We also can see some defaults here to set ourselves up for easy billing. If those defaults did need to be changed, you can always change them at the scheduling level or at the billing level. I can also always upload my auth file here as well. So really handy just as a reference point. This is going to be your auth build out for like an insurance or a Medicaid. But if you do have other payer types, school districts, private pay, regional centers, you can build those out in the system and track them as well in the schedule as well as in the billing area. So we'll kind of touch on that when we get into those points. This is going to be where you put secondary authorizations as well. So if your child does have primary and secondary, you put both of those policy and auths in. Our system is designed to bill secondary and follow secondary through into that billing area. So the system will set yourself up for success in scheduling against primary, not secondary, and getting to that secondary billing transfer when the primary remit comes back. Cabinet, this is going to be where files can be stored. Any client PDFs, files, if you want to add in any like text notes, like a parent phone logs, you can add all of that into the cabinet. Every profile has their own cabinet. Okay, I'm going to jump into a schedule. I'm not seeing any questions come in just yet, but that Q&A box is available to you. If you are having questions along the way, we can go over some questions at the end of today's call. Okay, in a schedule, this is a sample schedule. This is for one staff member at a week's perspective. First thing I want to point out are going to be these icons on the left. These let me know the type of appointment I see. Billable appointments look like this, break time, lunch times. Non-billable times will be a blank clipboard. This is typically things like trainings, onboardings, meetings, anything that you are wanting to track for payroll purposes for your staff, but are not billable. You also can track drive time and mileage for your staff as well. Over on the right, you have your status bubbles. Lets you know if those appointments are completed or not. Completed is filled in. For a billable appointment, that means it's ready to go to billing. For a payable appointment, it's ready to go to payroll. Open circle means it's not yet completed. We're going to talk about what completes an appointment in just a second. Okay, so for my billable appointment, if I single click on the available appointment, I can see my utilization. This is Joey's direct service appointment that I clicked on. I have 1,200 total units in my auth. Of those 1,200, I can see what's been scheduled and not. Of those that have been scheduled, I can see what's completed versus not. This is however you built out that authorization limit. So really easy in tracking that as you're starting to build out your schedules. Okay, let's talk about how we complete an appointment. This is going to be where our clinical integrations come in if you guys are using electronic data collection. We have a few options for electronic data collection that you can integrate into your Aloha practice management software. We have our own data collection system. It's called Walina. Walina is a full electronic data collection system that's under the Aloha umbrella. That is one of your options. We also integrate with some other partnerships. We integrate with Hirasmus, Motivity, and Insora, which is previously Catalyst. We definitely believe in freedom of choice. I recommend to choose the one that's best fit for your organization. They all have a great options based on what your organization might need and prefer. So any of those options are going to work with this integration that I'm going to prompt you through. So the first step in your integration is always scheduling on Aloha. Once you schedule any of your billable appointments, those will push into your clinical system that you're integrated into. So Walina, Hirasmus, Motivity, and Sora. Once that billable appointment has been pushed over, that's a real-time push. Your staff members are logging into that clinical system and seeing their billable appointments that came over from Aloha. They select the appointment that they are in, take their data like they normally would, create their session notes, collect all of their signatures. Only once everything is done on the session note does this next step occur. Once everything is complete on their session note, there'll be a pull back into Aloha. Their times that were verified on their session note will sync. That makes sure that you're billing exactly what the session note reflects. In case someone showed up late or left early, times will sync. It also auto-completes the appointment for you. This means that the staff does not have to come back into Aloha. It automatically carries over into Aloha and lets you know it is completed and ready to be billed. Other things that happen in that sync back are your signatures will copy over from the session note, and a URL link will link to the session note itself, and it will link on this billable appointment. So that push-pull, as I mentioned, is real time and it is bi-directional. So a change is made in one system, it reflects automatically real time in the other. Really seamless. That is getting us towards a completed appointment. Completed appointments are letting us know for those billable ones that they're ready to go to billing. Before I get into billing, I'm going to hit a couple of high points on the schedule, and then we'll jump into that billing realm. I saw a question come in about viewing multiple schedules, so I'll briefly hit on those viewpoints for your schedules as well. First thing I want to mention, schedule summary button. This is showing total payroll versus billable hours for the week. It also tells you if you hit any overtime hours. I can see this week view, which is most popular. It's what we're looking at now, but I can also see a day view or a month view. Schedule summary will follow you along here. I also have something called a timeline view. A timeline view is going to be a great spot to add multiple calendars at once. So this is hitting on that question. I can add in one staff, one client at a time, or I can add in a team of people to this view. Again, teams are created by you, so you can add in whatever team name that you need to, and everyone in that team is going to pull into this timeline view. It makes it really easy for scheduling because you can see who's free, who's blocked. I can even see if people are unavailable. We do have unavailable blocks. Your utilization tracker does follow you along in this view, and you can schedule from this view as well. Great question. Okay, I'm going to pop us into billing next then. So my appointment is now completed. That lets me know I'm ready to bill. I'm going to come into the billing manager screen. Billing manager is going to be where I'm scrubbing the information prior to sending it to a clearinghouse. You are welcome to self-bill in Aloha. We do go over that in your onboarding process, which is really hands-on. You also can add on billing services if you prefer Aloha's billing service team to bill for you. Regardless of which option that you're choosing, you will be able to see all of the information I'm going to be showing you in these billing modules, including AR. So it makes everything really transparent for you guys. Okay, so in this billing manager screen, I'm going to select the payer that I want to bill and the date range. When I hit generate, all of my unbilled appointments will populate. So these are the appointments that are ready to bill. They've been completed, they have a session note, but they haven't been sent to the clearinghouse yet. So those are those unbilled appointments. As I mentioned, this is my scrubbing screen. So I can look through and I can make changes here if I need to. Blue text means I can change it. Aloha does do a pre-scrub for you, seen through this orange checkbox. So I can hover over anything orange and it tells me what's missing. So rendering provider in this case needs to be added. I can easily make that change if I needed to. I'm going to scroll through I'm going to get a feel for everything that I've collected at this screen. If I needed to make changes again, I could. I could also bulk update here if I needed to. Might be helpful if place of service maybe changed for a week for a client or something of that nature. Once I feel comfortable with this information, it's usually pretty clean here because again, that onboarding is really hands-on. But once I feel comfortable, all I do to bill are select the appointments and click process billing. This will pull into a claim form and send it to the clearinghouse. We have integrations with 2 clearinghouses. AlohaABA is our preferred clearinghouse. We also integrate with Availity, so you have options based on your payers. Once I have process billing that's sent to the clearinghouse itself, I then am going to see all of the claims I sent in my AR manager. My AR manager is going to be showing me all my outstanding balances. So what have I not got paid for that I did bill for? AR manager is broken up based on payer. Payers on the left, balances are on the right. Everything in the center is broken up based on aging buckets. How long has it been since you've billed? I can click into any balance here and get information. And as a reminder, even if you did add on billing services, so someone's billing for you, you're still able to come in here and see this screen. Okay, so I'm going to click inside. Inside of a balance, I can see the list of claims that make up that balance. The claim breakdown is shown here as well. I also will be able to see a transaction log. This transaction log is really helpful because it keeps things organized. It does automatically note in the log whenever the claim is touched in Aloha. So in this example, I'm going to highlight it. Who billed it, what time? It also tells me if I post payments towards it, when it was posted, reference numbers, if I mark it as denied or rejected or anything like that. But also it's a spot for me to add myself manual notes. So if you're self-billing, this is going to keep you really organized because you can put in reference numbers, who you talked to, what they said. That way, every time you look back on the claim, you can see when it was last touched, by who, and what happened. Inside the claim, if I click into it again, I can see the charge lines that make up that claim. So that's going to be how my AR is navigated. I do want to note that billing, scheduling, profiles, everything I'm showing you has reports involved. So if you ever needed to pull your information out into more of an Excel format and send it off to someone or manipulate it, these all do have corresponding reports in Aloha. Okay, payment center is our next area. Once you have been paid, you are then going to get those ERAs back into Aloha, into the payment center. So that's another connection point of your clearinghouse. You have that connection point of sending your claims. Also, the status feeds back into that AR manager. You can see acceptances and rejections by the clearinghouse as well as by the payer. And then a third connection point is here in the payment center when those ERAs feed back in. So there's a lot of connection points with your clearinghouse. So you get paid, your ERA feeds back in here into the payment center. When you have a new ERA, you'll be able to select it, view it, and then auto post. Auto posting in Aloha means that the ERA is going to be read by the Aloha software and auto posted for you or auto reconciled for you. So it'll read what has been paid based on what you charged, and it will match it line by line, post it for you. It also does transfer any client responsibility for you in that auto post. So it reads copays, deductibles, transfers that to the client responsibility in that auto post as well. If you do have secondary here, it will transfer instead to the secondary billing module. You are able to send secondary billing electronically from Aloha via Office Ally. We auto post about 85% of ERAs in full. Majority of the time it comes in, you auto post it, you're good. If it needs manual posting, it'll auto post what it can and you will manually post the rest. We train you on all of this in your onboarding process. From here, you can also generate invoices. We have school district invoices, we have private pay invoices, super bills. We also have verification forms as well for regional center billing, if that applies. You can also manually post payments also. So if you do bill another payer type and they hand you a check, you can post it to those outstanding items. You can also post client responsibility checks or outside credit card processors, etc. We teach you all of this again in that onboarding process. Okay, and that's essentially what billing looks like here. That is going to conclude the overview of today. I am going to hit the Q&A box in just a second, so we'll go over some questions. I see some questions about payroll, some questions about reports, and I saw a question about RBT supervision tracking, so I'm going to hit those in just a second. But that being said, if you have any organization-specific questions, if you are wanting to meet one-on-one and go over anything specific, I'd be happy to do that with you guys. You will receive my information after today's demo. You can always reach out to me via email or schedule time directly on my calendar. Let's talk a little bit about what onboarding looks like for Aloha, and then we'll hop into that Q&A. Onboarding for Aloha is extremely hands-on. You will be assigned to a customer success manager, which is a dedicated Aloha account representative that is going to be walking you through weekly meetings to help onboard and set up your Aloha account. So that is a very hands-on training. They're going to be meeting with your team individually, typically weekly, as they help set up and onboard you onto the Aloha system. It is extremely structured. It's very hands-on. You'll be able to ask questions. You're going to get to really know that customer success manager. We do give a free 30 days to help support you with onboarding. And then that person is there with you throughout your entire Aloha journey as well. If you have questions later on and you want to meet with them to go through additional training, or maybe we released a feature and you want a demo on it, or knowing how to implement it into your site, you would have access to their calendar as well. We do not charge for additional onboarding or support. We do have a full support team also. So if you need to call someone, we have a support phone line. We have a support ticketing system, great for feature requests or generalized questions. So definitely there to support you throughout your entire Aloha journey, not just in the beginning when you onboard. That is essentially what is going to conclude our Aloha demo today. Again, if you guys have questions, let me know. We can definitely meet one-on-one. Knowing that, I do want to jump into some of the questions that I'm seeing roll into the Q&A box. Okay, so the first question that I was seeing was about mileage and drive time tracking. I'm going to hit on that super briefly. So I'm going to go back into my schedule here. Let's go back into our week view. And I'm going to look at this car appointment. That's my drive time and mileage appointment tracker. So you can track drive time, mileage, or both, totally up to you. We can put in starting and destination points, which preload based on your surrounding appointments. You can see here, I'm just selecting based on where I was before and after. For mileage, we have a Google Maps integration. You hit refresh, it gives you the distance in miles between those 2 points. This is going to be pulled into your payroll report if you reimburse per mile. Totally up to you what mileage reimbursement tracking looks like. Start and end time up here is going to be where any drive time comes in if you reimburse drive time. We are able to put in multiple pay rates for your staff. You can name them whatever you want. We can also route them so they automatically pool based on the appointment type. So if you have a different drive time hourly rate for staff, it can automatically pool that way. Looking at the payroll report itself, let's see. This is going to essentially give you the numbers for your payroll period, and then you can pull it into your payroll processor to actually take out taxes and cut the check. But it's broken up based on staff. It'll give you total amounts, total number of hours worked. It also does break it down based on whatever those pay rates are that you built out. Again, those are customizable build outs. If you would like to call them something different, if you would have multiple hourly rates, one salary rate, mileage reimbursement rates, anything like that, you can add it in. Great question. I saw another question about RBT supervision tracking. I get this question a ton, and I'd love to show you the feature. I actually already have the RBT supervision log pulled. But when you're looking at a billable appointment, when you open it up, you're able to add in who you're supervising. So this would be for a BCBA's supervision appointment. They add in the RBT they're supervising. It tracks the overlap of the RBT's appointment to the BCBA's appointment. And then you can run supervision logs and see where you're at with that 5% requirement. Let me show you what that looks like. So here's one for Donald as my RBT. All of his meeting dates and then totals are at the bottom. He's way over his 5%, go Donald. And he's met all his BACB requirements. So this is designed for the BACB. So it's really efficient, really helpful to keep track of those things. Okay, someone just asked to scroll through some reports. I'll do that with you, and then we'll kind of round out for today. We have a ton of reports here. Scheduling reports, cancellation reports, profile information, authorization reports, fee schedule reports, We also have all of those billing reports, billing ledger details, payment ledger details, RBT supervision tracking, payroll reports, so many reports. Again, all of these can be viewed in Aloha, but they could also be exported to Excel at any point. We don't limit how often you can export or which reports you can access, based on permissions, of course, but we'll give you access to these all. All right, that is going to round us out for today. I appreciate you guys spending a little bit of time with me. If you guys have additional questions, please reach out. I'm happy to walk you through the Aloha system more in depth for your organization, and I hope you enjoyed. Have a good rest of your day, guys.